At New Oxford Street, Swansea in 1883, a fire at a business premises and home took the lives of 2 young boys. The following is a brief account of what happened that night. On Sunday the 20th of January 1883, in the early hours of the morning, a young Swansea Borough Police Constable, 71, James Leach Dee, entered a burning house at New Oxford Street, Swansea, and attempted to rescue 2 young boys, Robert Charles Williams aged 13 and Ellis Williams aged 10. The premises were a general merchandise dealers, and all merchants, owned by a Mr. Robert Williams and his wife Maria. They had 6 children. Police and police fire brigade officers attending the scene were reported as Constable 71 James Leach Dee, Constable 10 Stephen Payne, Constable 46 William Williams, Constable William Parry and Constable 72 William Jones. It was said that the efforts and courage of Constables Payne, Parry, Williams, and Dee was most praiseworthy, and they deserve very great commendation, because the rooms they were dealing with were in flames, and if the mass had fallen they would have lost their lives. Like all brave men in such cases, they thought more of others than themselves. P.C. Payne and more especially P.C. Dee were most heroic. Using a ladder to enter the premises, Constable Dee found one boy and passed him through a window. The boy was alive at this time, but later died in hospital. Again Constable Dee entered the burning building, which was now an inferno, to try and locate and rescue a second boy, but he could not be found. After the fire had been put out, the body of the second boy was found under a bed. Constable Dee was badly burnt around the face, neck, ears, and hands. He was taken to Swansea Hospital, and he made a full recovery. On Thursday the 25th of January 1883 the boys were laid to rest at Dan E. Gregg Cemetery, Swansea. The Cambrian newspaper on Friday the 26th of January 1883 reported on the funeral. There was quite a sad sensation created in the town as the funeral of 2 unfortunate children, Robert Charles Williams, aged 13, and Ellis Williams, aged 10, passed through the principal streets on its way to the cemetery. The procession was preceded by a great straggling crowd of poor children, and was followed with pitiful eyes by all who saw it. On each side of the hearse walked 4 police constables, and Captain Cahoon, the head constable, Mr. George Holland, the superintendent, and other officers of the force walked in procession. There were upwards of a dozen carriages filled with the neighbours of the unfortunate family, and with others who feel for them in their terrible sad bereavement. The inscription on the boy's grave reads, "In affectionate remembrance of Robert Charles aged 13 years, and of Ellis aged 10 years, the beloved children of Robert and Maria Williams, who exchanged life for a blissful immortality through the disastrous fire at Oxford Street, Swansea on January the 21st, 1883. On the 2nd of February 1883, the head constable of Swansea Borough Police, Captain Cahoon, addressed the Watch Committee where it was decided P.C. Dee for his gallantry be immediately promoted to Merit Class Constable and he be awarded the Albert Medal. At an inquest held at Swansea Hospital the following was said: "We would make special mention of P.C.s Dee and Williams, the former of whom, at the risk of his own life, performed a most daring and heroic act in the cause of humanity." The Cambrian newspaper of the 2nd of February 1883 reported that the Swansea Watch Committee was told by the head constable that he had not sufficient men to take the fire extinguisher to the scene, and that it should be more centrally placed, and the Guildhall would be the best location. Also that the water pressure in parts of the town is not sufficient. It was said the fault was the want of water. The Watch Committee said they would leave no stone unturned to get this done. Both the recommendations were carried out. On the 21st of March, 1833 at Swansea Guildhall, the Mayor of Swansea presented Constable Dee with the Albert Medal. This is an extract from the Cambrian newspaper. His Worship then read a description of the bravery of P.C. Dee, while the gallant fellow was called forward, and came to the front amid the enthusiastic plaudits of the crowd. Again great cheering. He also received a privately commissioned Bravery Cross, in gold, as a token of appreciation from his hometown of Clanley. An extract from British Medals auctioneers, Rennie Alcock, stated the following. Within 6 months of these awards, Constable Dee was dismissed from the police for acts which the Watch Committee considered unworthy of a policeman. This report in the Cambrian newspaper of the 10th of August, 1883, reported on the assault incident. The first act was using undue violence in apprehending a person, and using, without necessity, his truncheon. For this offence he was fined 20 shillings by the Watch Committee. A few days later a publican was summoned for serving Police Constable Dee with beer, whilst Dee was on duty. It transpired that Constable Dee had tried to get the publican to swear that he had sent for Dee to quell a disturbance that was taking place in the house. As a result of these offences, the Watch Committee had asked the Home Secretary, Henry Matthews, to forfeit the medal awarded to Constable Dee. The Home Secretary stated that in his opinion the offences did not seem serious enough to justify the medal being withdrawn. Today the sudden and out-of-character, irrational actions of Constable Dee would be diagnosed as him suffering from post-traumatic stress. In 1883, this condition wasn't recognised. He may have been dismissed from the police, but his brave and gallant actions on that night would suggest that he was a man of the highest calibre, and was dedicated to his duties by risking his own life, trying to save the lives of others. What became of Constable James Leach Dee is not known.